Sup, Dale? Welcome back to Scouching's video room. Today we are looking at a player that everybody loves, especially in San Jose, Mr. Sam Dickinson of the illustrious London Knights organization. We're going to be watching a game against the North Bay Battalion from a few days back. This is a player that I had pretty high on my list, but lower than a lot of people. I've seen him in person a few times this year, and I mean, it's hard to ignore that he's having an excellent season to this point. So what we're going to do is take a quick look at exactly what's going on, both the good and the things that maybe need to come a ways with Dickinson relative to what I saw of him last season, and just go from there. This series has been doing really well on this channel, so thank you so much for watching and all of your support. If we get this video to 150 likes, we're going to put out a third one this week, so definitely hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider a subscription over at Scouching.ca, where you'll get access to our Discord server and plenty of other cool little perks and stuff you can check out over at Scouching.ca. So let's get into it and see what we get from Dickinson. Really quickly, if all else fails, push the puck into the offensive zone and throw it in front of the net. So right away, Dickinson's doing some things that could lead to offense. Didn't work out, but you may as well. Stuff like this doesn't really bother me in isolation, but on this defensive zone entry, Dickinson just doesn't really affect the play enough to cause a turnover, and North Bay ends up with possession and pretty dangerous scoring areas here. So he's just a little bit too far from this player on the defensive entry, tries the stick check. And again, I saw this a lot last year, especially on defensive entries, where Dickinson just wasn't quite aggressive enough and sat back a little bit too much. Obviously, Denver Barkey didn't really bail him out much there, but now you've got a pretty dangerous situation here, right? So let's say this guy goes this way, Bruštevec here has to pinch this way and cover. Then they might have an open chance here, which they try to do. But it doesn't quite work out, and Easton Cowan bails them out. And on the turnaround later that shift, Dickinson's not in the shot here, but he will be in a second. So Barkey, who I love, sends this wonderful pass through a big gap that North Bay has here to Dickinson, who is the trailing guy here. And, I mean, this is, again, a thing Dickinson did last year quite often. Oh, look, there's a guy in scoring area. I have the puck in scoring areas. Probably not the biggest threat as a shot here for him, so may as well try to go cross crease for a tap in. Doesn't work out. It's his really first shift of the game, and that's his second attempt at creating a scoring chance in the offensive zone through quick thinking and slot passing. So there's a hint of where production might be coming from. Last season, when I tracked data on Sam Dickinson, he was one of the least successful offensive transition passers, especially amongst the defensemen at the top end of the class. I mean, I don't know what else he's supposed to do on this play here. I mean, he's doing the defensive coverage thing really well, blocks this pass, they cause the turnover. You know, he has lots of empty space here. I mean, I've seen him sort of just drop the shoulder and just wheel around and go for a skate, but he just turns around. I mean, if this is a turnover, I mean, it could be very scary in arguably the most scary area of the ice to turn the puck over, but he gets it through and ices it. Stuff like that I've seen a lot out of him. Okay, it wasn't icing, but that kind of thing I've seen a lot, and they lose possession a lot like that when he moves the puck that way. So here you have Dickinson on his side, on the left side here. He's going to get a pass from Easton Cowan, and this is just a really nice high-end offensive sort of approach here. He could just put the puck on net from here, but he takes a little skill move to get the puck more into the middle of the ice, maybe bait the goalie into moving laterally, which there's a lot of information out there that says that that's a really good way to beat goaltenders, is make them move laterally before you shoot. Gonna get this guy to bite this way a little bit and pull himself out of the play and try to get a shot on, but it is blocked by 24 there. But he does do things like that, and it can lead to success and some goals, and it has in the past for him. So this is also just solid entry defense from Dickinson here. So the puck's going to sort of bobble its way into his own end. He gets it down on the ice, really quick thought, and boom, to an open partner on the entry there. Prevents any danger. Simple stuff, but you got to do stuff like that. This might just be how you look at the game and how you want your players to play, but Sam Dickinson might have been the player last season in the NHL draft that I tracked who did most pucks flipped out of the defensive end aimlessly per 60 minutes, and he just does it again here, right? He's taking his time. Partner here, Bruštevec, runs a good pick off the faceoff, giving Dickinson some time here. You know, Dickinson has options, right? There's a guy right here. There's a guy streaking this way. I think that's Sam O'Reilly. And he sort of slows down and just flips it out and turns it over. I don't know if that's a structural thing from London where they're going, no, we're just a dump and chase team. We have 4 checkers. We're going to go get it. But I've seen that a lot out of Sam Dickinson for sure. This is a good offensive exit defense from Dickinson here. He just kind of gets a stick in the way, causes a bit of havoc on the exit, and just sort of runs the block here so that he can get some support from behind him and they gain possession again. So last year, this was a thing that maybe wouldn't work out super well for him all the time, but that was pretty decent. Well, this is a defenseman doing the defensive thing. So he's over here and on the potential retrieval, he's going to play the body. Boom. And basically prevent that possession from occurring. It just is a play that requires support from your line mates, which he gets. So this is a bit of a scary play from Dickinson. Again, he is so heavily pass first. And the weird thing for me with Dickinson is that last season, the things I loved the most, or the moments I loved the most out of him, was when he was assertive with the puck, when he carried it himself, when he used the natural talent he has. He's got some size, he's got power, he's got good straight line speed. But here, I mean, he's really trying a huge length cross ice pass here to a line mate in the neutral zone. And it is so nearly picked off by this guy. So yeah, he's facing pressure, right? He's facing pressure in his own end here. But if we wind back, you know, he's got tons of space to make a decision here. He's got this guy up here who maybe could tip it into the offensive zone, you know, do that kind of thing. He could try to wait this guy out and get him to bite and maybe move the puck back to Bruštevec. I see what he's trying to do here, right? Like, he does have a lane to this guy, but number 11 here on North Bay makes a good read and very nearly picks this off. We're going to play a little game here again called Find Sam Dickinson because he's doing the Artem Levshinov thing a little bit here. So you'll notice in here, he is this guy, and he's going to cut right in here. He's scoring a lot this year, so it is important to look at why that might be. He's always in open space. Another thing I love, square to the puck here. You know, if Denver Varkey just sends him an easy pass here, he has a pretty good idea of what's going on over there because his eyes are looking this way. He can, you know, do a little spin there because he is a pretty decent skater on his feet and cut to the net, maybe make a play that way. But stuff like this is how he's getting offense, I think. So here he gets burned doing what he did in the last little play that we broke down before this offensive zone play. You know, he'll get the puck on the defensive entry. Now, I will grant him that there's not much for him to do here, right? You've got a North Bay guy here, North Bay guy here, North Bay guy here. I mean, this really is his only option at the moment because I believe Henry Bruštevec is pinned a little bit up in the neutral zone in this area. But what he does is just flip the puck over the guy forechecking him, and it's very easily picked off by Van Steensel here. Just not a very hard pass. Did not get out of his own end, and now North Bay has possession in their own end off of a bit of a soft bit of pressure there from Denver Varkey. But I wouldn't highlight it if it was just the only time that I've seen Sam Dickinson do stuff like that in a game. This is really good defending here, I think, from Dickinson. So on the defensive entry, he's going to get involved in the play here and win the race against number 10 here. And he's going to take the pressure with him. So 10, basically everyone, honestly, is angled and following him this way. And what he'll do is just keep it super simple. He's dragging the pressure this way and he's going to send it back the way he came. The idea of dragging pressure and taking play with you and opening space that way is really just a very effective way to move the puck in the right direction. And that's what he does here, right? And I mean, it's not handled perfectly, but they get their defensive zone exit and they're off and running into the offensive zone. Here's a nice little pinch from Sam Dickinson as the first period comes to a close. Nothing too fancy here. He's in good position, you know, no matter what happens. He's in pretty good defending position supporting Henry Bruštevec there. But he just cuts over really quickly and just causes a breakup there with a good stick check and causes a turnover before North Bay can get anything going. This is a tough situation for someone like Dickinson to be in. I mean, I play defense when I play hockey, and I get scared when stuff like this happens, but I mean, I'm not very good, but I mean, this is not ideal for Dickinson, right? Like, he's got 3 dudes getting in on him, and he really only has a few options and kind of has to hope that works, or just rim it as hard as he can around the boards here and hope for some support. He does a bit of a spooky thing here by putting it directly into scoring areas here, but he did have the support. He recognized the support and got the puck there. So a good play, tough situation, defended pretty well. Last year, I saw him a few times in that situation not pressure the puck at all and sort of play the body and just play it a lot more passive, and it didn't really work out very often for him. So things like that, I like to see a little bit better, a little more intensity on those defensive retrievals and simpler approach and getting the job done. This is entry defense from Dickinson that I kind of remember more from last year. His footwork is not amazing, I feel like, for an NHL top prospect. I mean, so on this defending, he is just not really moving his feet. Again, maybe this is structural for London, but this is a pretty decent sized lane for a player to dump and chase or something here. Dickinson does stay with him and not really moving his feet, not closing this gap much at all. And I feel like 27 here just doesn't really make a play of any kind at all and kind of lets Dickinson's stick get in the way and cause a turnover. For Dickinson, it's just that's been kind of the thing with him, is a lot of it is a little bit softer than you'd like, a little bit slower than you'd like, and a little more passive than you'd like. But again, it's hard to tell if that's structural or not. But at the NHL, I feel like faster players, more physical players will just blow right through him. So this is a good sequence from Dickinson that's kind of the opposite of what we just saw. So here the puck is still in his own end. Dickinson is here where he should be. He's going to close this gap against the boards. Again, not the fastest guy in the world, but he's going to close the gap on this player, challenge him along the boards, and cause the player to lose possession of the puck. Then he pokes it free. He has a bit of a gap. And I mean, this situation is where Dickinson, to me, at least in my experience with him, is at his best. So when he has a runway to get wheeled up with his crossovers and really get ahead of steam going up the ice, I mean, he dishes it to Cowan here. But this is where I feel like Dickinson brings a lot of value. On the rush, he can jump into the play. Here he is right here, and just chip in offensively and be a really, really good rush defenseman. I've really liked him when he plays in these situations, and there he is, right? That's just Sam Dickinson to a T, right? I'll back up and show the whole clip. So he pokes the puck free, starts the breakout, jumps into the breakout himself, acts as a trailing forward, I suppose, in open space, and just a beautiful pass to Denver Barkey that just doesn't go in. So for him, the awareness to stay in space here, there's nobody pressuring him. I mean, this is just a golden ticket for him to get into scoring areas. And again, just a really nice pass to Denver Barkey that just bounces through him. This is a really nice breakup of North Bay's cycle here. I mean, Dickinson hasn't done anything really wrong on this defensive zone cycle at all. He's playing the body. He's doing quite well. Just basic stuff. But here he just does a really, really good job winning this physical battle, shoving 19 out of the way, giving himself a little bit of space to play with, and just getting play moving in the right direction. A really nice read here to bounce off of the pressure, create a little bit of a gap for himself. Now he's got options, right? He can, move the puck in a number of different directions. He does the right thing, gets it to 44, and they have their defensive zone exit. So that doesn't happen without Sam Dickinson doing some pretty good board work in the defensive zone. Okay, so here comes Sam Dickinson, right? This is what makes him such an intriguing NHL prospect and why he went so high in the draft. Really, really quick pass option here just to get it back behind the goalie. Give Bruštevec a bit more time and space to think about things. So here comes Dickinson, though. Bruštevec is going to leave the puck for him. And again, this is where Dickinson shines. This is just what he does. He gets up the ice. Not the best pass there, but he just gets ahead of steam going. And again, once this puck crosses the offensive blue line, he's off to the races as a potential offensive threat. This is just what he is. This is Sam Dickinson to a T. They get the offensive zone entry. Dickinson does a really great job of winning body positioning here and driving straight to the net. Some really, really good stuff out of Sam Dickinson on that rush, just showcasing what it is that he does. So the London Knights might have just kind of fallen apart a little bit on this defensive rush, but you're going to see Dickinson and Bruštevec. I mean, Bruštevec does not play this particularly well. He's skating forwards, back checking into his own end. And in this situation, I mean, I feel like Bruštevec should be turning around and facing this way to deal with these two guys as trailing forwards and let Dickinson deal with this. But they just end up skating into each other. This guy drags Dickinson across the middle of the ice. Bruštevec runs a pick for him. Not a great play from the two of them. I don't know how much that's on Dickinson, but they get themselves a chance on net there from that. And immediately after this shot on net, I mean, again, Dickinson, I can't fault him too much for this, but it is something I've seen a lot out of him over the last season and a half, and it's the amount of time it can take for him to execute on a decision. So here you're going to see him gain possession of the puck. I mean, he has an option here in Easton Cowan to get the puck to him here, just a quick one-touch pass to try to get it to him or at least put it off the boards for him. But he hangs on to it, still hanging on to it. He's looking up the ice. He has options. He could just flip a little backhand to this guy here, but he waits even longer and almost turns the puck over in his own end. And then through all of that, he ends up chipping it into the neutral zone and turning it over to the other team. So a little bit slow to execute, but I can't put too much fault on him for that because, I mean, hockey happens fast. But so does the NHL. It happens even faster. And the last thing you want is defensive zone turnovers. And sometimes he plays with fire. And so making quicker decisions, simpler, quicker executions, I think would help a lot. So this is something that I see a lot, and this leads to a goal against with Dickinson on the ice, and he is the only one back defending this. And defending 2-on-1s is tough. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's easy to do, but this is a really good example of why I value defensemen who have really, really good footwork and lateral mobility. Close gaps, challenge guys quickly, push the play against them and make them make decisions. But Dickinson here kind of sits back. His crossovers don't generate a ton of lateral motion. He's kind of still just sitting in the middle of these two guys as they pass the puck back and forth. And then he just hits the deck and tries to slide. And I know he's trying to block the pass here, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen players see this happening, watching a defenseman go down in the middle of the ice here. And they just, wait him out and put the puck back around them. Dickinson does almost get his stick on the puck here to knock the puck into the corner maybe here, but he just doesn't have the support necessary to, really take himself out of the play this much. 5 gets his stick on the puck. There's a rebound and the puck's in the back of the net. You're going to be in a situation probably defending 2-on-1s in the NHL at some point. And I always look for defensemen that challenge quickly, use lateral mobility to really get in the way of play, rather than relying on their body and stick. The laying on the ice thing takes you out of the play a lot more often in my experience than it is effective. And even if he did block that play with his body and ate the puck, who's to say that North Bay couldn't just dig it out from under his body and move the puck again and make a pass into the dangerous areas again? It just takes him out of the play. It limits his options. It's just a thing that I think works out less often than it does. On this entry, Dickinson doesn't really defend with his feet, right? So he is in good position here. He's in good position defensively. He's got his partner here. It's a 2-on-2 situation. The trailing forward is covered well here. But Dickinson's feet aren't moving, and he does a little stop to close the gap and get his stick in the lane. In this play, it didn't make a huge difference. I mean, they did get the shot on net, but defenders who sort of stand still and sort of motion back and forth and sort of try to let the game come to them, I find that long term is a bit of a difficult thing to do in the NHL with a lot of success, but it's been okay for Dickinson so far, especially defensively. A lot better than I remember from last year, especially. And again here, it's a defensive entry. Dickinson's the only one back. There's a pinch here in the neutral zone from his line mate or paramate. It's a bit of a 2-on-1, like a mini 2-on-1 here, sort of, kind of. Dickinson does get his stick on the puck in this situation here and puts it out along the boards, but doesn't really challenge what he's created here. And North Bay ends up with a puck going to the front of the net and a completed pass here, and now they have the puck in scoring areas, and now they're on an offensive zone cycle. So little things from Dickinson again, where it's like, a little bit more footwork, a little bit more power in his skating to move a little bit quicker could really help him out in situations like this, especially if he's going to be a bit more of this stick-first defender, not really moving your feet, but you're attacking them with your stick and trying to cause turnovers like he did just there. This is just really good off-puck defending from Dickinson here. He's going to recognize that this is his man right here. They have the numbers. They have an advantage here, and he just follows him, takes him out of scoring areas. London takes a penalty, but Dickinson had nothing to do with that. So London is now coming off of the power play that they just entered in the last clip, and Dickinson, again, this is just what he does. He's a puck rushing guy, and I love when he does this. This is when he's at his best. Is it going to project to higher levels? We'll see. I always like to isolate what players do well and what brings them success and go, okay, how can we fit you into an NHL lineup doing the things that you do really, really well? And so as a puck rusher, I think that's a thing that I would work with more on him. And he's a very aggressive player who can make things happen offensively when this happens. That play didn't quite work out the way he wanted, but they still ended up with possession. It's just another example of the things that Dickinson kind of does that leads to the kind of production that we've seen so far. So this is just another moment of like good but not great defending from Dickinson. He's doing what needs to be done. He's getting his stick in the way. He's going to challenge this guy well before the defensive blue line, which is what I love to see. There's lots of information out there that suggests that preventing defensive entries in the first place is the best way to suppress offense. And he does. He gets himself in the way, but the thing is, North Bay still finds a way to get through it, make a play, and move the puck off the boards into the middle of the ice. So a little thing, obviously I'm nitpicking a little bit, but again, these are things with Dickinson I've seen a lot. He's doing the right things, but the opponent is still managing to find ways through him, finding ways to take advantage of him, kind of keeping his feet still. He's very stick reliant, I guess is what I'm saying. He's very stick reliant. It works a lot, but not all the time. And this is an elite level NHL prospect, and the NHL is really, really hard. to defend. And this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about with Dickinson, where like the idea is the right one, but this very well could have been a easier defensive zone entry for his opponent than it was. You know, he's not really a factor in closing out this or pinning 24 or 14 or whoever it is to the boards here. He doesn't get there to win the race. You know, it's a bit of a soft play from 14 along the boards, and Easton Cowan sort of bails out Dickinson here. But on defensive entries, you know, again, he doesn't take a single stride here, right? So he does the pivot, no stride, soft pressure along the boards, but Easton Cowan bails him out. These things happen over and over and over again, and it can be a problem. It's just a little thing that happens with him somewhat often. And again, signs of brightness in his defending and intelligence, but not necessarily the execution being as good as it could be. This is London Knights hockey, baby. All of these North Bay players are deep in the defensive zone, really deep in the defensive zone, and both London defenders now recognize that they have some space to play with, and Henry Brusztewicz cuts off the play here, but little situations like this and having Dickinson pinching up like that are definitely ways that you can generate offense as a defenseman for sure. This is just a really nice play to work off of pressure with Dickinson. Again, calmness and good vision in the offensive zone. We've seen him make some nice plays in scoring areas passing wise, and this is another one. 19 here gives him a stick check on North Bay, and he just sends a quick pass to his partner in Brusztewicz here, who's in open ice and can make a play of some kind. He puts it on net, it gets blocked, but that drawing pressure and then moving the puck kind of thing, it's a really interesting area to sort of learn how to walk and where to push the envelope and where not to, but there it showcases that it is something that Dickinson is quite good at. So Dickinson scores here. It's a bit of a mess play. All of North Bay's players are just all over the goaltender here. There's no way that anybody really knows what's going on. In the Scouching Discord server, we have a text channel for does he score, where, you know, the answer usually is no, and it's situations where players should score and they don't. This is a situation where Sam Dickinson's going to put it on net. The goalie is turned around, saying hi to the people in the front row, puts it on net and scores a goal. So nice little recognition that there's chaos you can take advantage of. Sometimes you just put it on net, you're going to score goals, and Sam Dickinson has a lot of points this year. Sometimes they just come. And that's it for Sam Dickinson, actually, this game. Not much really happened in his last couple of shifts there. I mean, look, he's better than I remember him from last year in this game. Like, there were some moments last year where I was very confused at what I was watching and really frustrated with the decision making and the sort of softness to his game for a guy that, like him, his size. But there's still some of that left in his game. A little flat-footed, you know, not really moving his feet much defensively, not really showcasing a lot of lateral mobility. It's a lot of letting the game come to him. And maybe that is on the London Knights structurally. I've heard that a little bit as well. And I don't want to make it sound like I don't really like Sam Dickinson as a player. I think he's a very, very, very talented defenseman. There were some moments in this game where you absolutely see how he can be such a good offensive creator, how he could be a power play quarterback here. He did have a hat trick in this game. This is only 5-on-5 footage, or even strength footage, I should say. I generally only really look at even strength because from even strength you can glean a lot about the power play potential or penalty killing potential. And with Dickinson, you absolutely see a lot of power play potential with him. The little offensive zone deception and skill and baiting and switching and dragging pressure around and inside the slot playmaking and pinching into the offensive zone here and there. There's just a lot of mentality there offensively that I think is really high end with Dickinson, and I think that's going to be a hallmark of his NHL game. The ability to defend is a little bit of a different story, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think it's a problem, really. It's just little situations here and there where it runs a lot of risk and maybe makes life a little too easy for his opponent. But with regards to throwing the body, getting into the middle of the ice off the puck and challenging guys around scoring areas, he does all that stuff. He does the stuff that you need defensemen to do. It's just the rush defending and those defensive zone retrievals that I think are a bit of a work in progress still. I also note this game, there's a lot less of this. Last year, he would have all the time in the world to make a play and then just yeet the puck 20 feet off the ground and throw it up the ice and throw a Hail Mary and just turn it over. I think that happened one time in this game, maybe two. So that's good to see. Obviously, this is only a one-game sample, but that's something that just doesn't really help you in the NHL these days anymore. Simpler pass executions, I think, continue to be something that I would want to work on with Dickinson. He was better at it. He's doing it more often in this game. I was nitpicky here and there, I admit, totally. I totally am. But number one, this is a really high-end NHL prospect, drafted really, really high. Expectations are high. But also, he was also good. Like, overall, I thought he played really, really well. So a good game from Dickinson, definitely similar to what I saw last year, but there are areas where I think he's gotten better. And I do still really love the same things that I loved about his game last year, those rushes, those little moments of playmaking in the offensive zone. So yeah, there's a lot to like with Dickinson, and we're going to call it on that. So if you liked it, definitely like the video. If we get to 150 likes, we're going to release a third one this week. If you really liked it, definitely also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider a subscription over at Scouching.ca. We've got a Discord server, data tables of prospects and drafted prospects and all kinds of fun stuff for the draft and beyond. So you can check that all out. So thanks very much. We'll see you in the next one. We're going to take a look at another London Knight that a lot of people have their eyes on in Toronto Maple Leafs pick, Easton Cowan. We'll see you then.